Welcome to I Got You podcast, Mike. You're a relationship strategist. Tell me a
Yes.
little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So love all things relationship, and then I love strategy, the way my brain is wired. And so when you put them together, I love helping people strategize about their love life, their relationships. And so I've been doing coaching for a little bit now. I've been helping people for years. I really just, after my own divorce, I found pleasure in the journey of healing and understanding trauma and why we show up the way we show up. And that's just a passion of mine. So I try to help people navigate those spaces.
Thank you for being on. Today, we're talking about divorce. And honestly, I want to clearly say I know divorce isn't just one person's story. I know some people grieve divorce and also others are relieved. And
Yeah.
for so many, it's both. So
Yeah.
right now, I'm hearing that there are a lot more people getting divorced after 50 and after being married for over 20 something years. Can you
Yeah.
explain that to me a little bit? What do you think the difference is now? Why people are not staying in their marriage as long?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. So my only thought is there's a lot more conversation nowadays about happiness than I think were in our grandmother and grandfather's time.
Hmm.
I think back then they just endured, the hardships, endured the mishandling, endured the toxic relationships. And I
Right.
think now they ain't about that life.
Yeah.
If I'm 40, a 50-year-old now, a 60-year-old, they're hearing the same things I'm hearing.
Gotcha.
Right. And so they're aware of their options now and they're aware of self care, self love. And they probably like, you know what? I am done making these bologna sandwiches for this ungrateful.
I mean, it's a big.
So, you know what I mean? So I think it's just an awareness potentially, but it is a phenomenon. It's interesting.
Why do you think some people feel relieved or even happy after a divorce?
Why was I relieved? I think it's because maybe from jump, you wish you never married the person. Like you wish that you were in a better position to make decisions back then. Like I was too young. I was 22. I didn't know nothing about myself really. That's a decision. Marriage relationships are a decision for adults and I just wasn't ready. So after you didn't bring babies into the world, you didn't thug it out through a rough marriage, it just becomes very clear that this is something you probably shouldn't have done to start with.
Right.
And, people have rough times in marriages. And so, like any rough time, when it's over, there's a relief.
Yeah.
There's a celebration, if you will. And I'm all for it. Throw that party, throw that
Going
divorce
for it.
party. Yeah. Life is short.
So what do you talk about with the people who are feeling depressed then? Do you think they feel depressed because of the person they lost, or is it the life they lost?
Yeah, I think it's all the above. Those people who celebrate the divorce are not the same people typically who are depressed. Those are, and it comes in waves. It can be different, but typically those sound like two different populations. But yeah, when you're talking about grieving, you're grieving a life that you wanted to have. You're grieving a life that you had. You're grieving the story that you were a part of. And if you had a good marriage and if it wasn't, your idea to separate, that's a hard pill to swallow because it's outside of your control, right? So many reasons grieving the breaking up the family unit, grieving losing companionship and partnership, stability, routine. Some people function better in a structured environment of a marriage. So I think there's a lot of reasons definitely why people
Right.
celebrate, grieve, relieved. Yeah.
Right. You said something about kids though, and I know most divorces that involves children, it's not the divorce that harms the kids, but like we were talking about earlier, it's the conflict and also being put in the middle. Um,
Yeah.
that how do you think it does affect the children and when parents are not communicating, when they are not good at communicating?
Yeah. I think it obviously puts the kids in the middle if the parents aren't emotionally mature enough not to put the children against each other. So it's one thing that for us to have beef, but then if the kid walks in, you know what? Yeah, you got to go with your mom today. It's her weekend. But mom always, instead of saying, you right, because I don't like the way she da da da, you uphold the mom as somebody that you respect, that you just may have difference with. I don't think a lot of parents handle it like that. I think they treat the children like an emotional crutch and they're trying to get support from the child. Yeah, because your dad, or yeah, because your mom. And the thing about being a child, especially a young child, they don't have all the faculties to think through all of this stuff. They can't really decide if one parent is right or one parent is wrong. Their frontal lobe is still being developed, so their decision making skills. So you end up really manipulating them,
Mm,
and it becomes abusive in a very small sense because you're forcing them to think a way that they may not even want to think
right.
about the other parent, you know? So it gets tough.
And does that do you speak to on, say, a 17-year-old in high school, and now the
Hmm.
divorce is happening, the parents aren't speaking to them about it, but one parent is pulling them like, "Your daddy's doing this, your mommy's doing that," and they're pitting each other pitting the child against
Yeah.
parent. What would you tell that parent in that situation how to not do that?
Yeah, that's so layered because I think about the parent's emotional state of mind. Sometimes they look at their child like their friend and they start venting to their friend, AKA their child. So that's wrong. Number one, the parent needs to get therapy, right? To learn how to regulate their emotions. That's a whole thing. And so I would just try to bring awareness to the parent. And ideally, I could talk to the child and say, hey, look, these two people were once together and they were glued together. And when you try to remove two pieces of paper that were glued apart, some is going to rip and it's
Right,
not going to be pretty. And that's what you're seeing, right? You're seeing two people who once were in a committed relationship struggle to separate. And you are going to have residue on both sides. You're going to have feelings. And so as you get older, you'll be able to see and understand the dynamics. But right now, just try to stay as neutral as possible.
try.
It's tough though. You know, I don't believe everything in life is a clear yes or no or black and white. So it's a lot of gray, and that's one of them to me.
I know one thing I didn't send you, right? But I wanted this big thing about narcissists lately.
Yeah. Yep.
Do
Everybody's a narcissist nowadays.
narcissist now, right? What do you think about that? Because I know people are like, "Oh, I had a narcissist partner," but do you think all of us have some narcissism in us?
Yeah, we got all of it. We all
Right.
human. We are made from the same stuff. I've recently just dropped this idea. I call it a behavioral framework. It's 70, 20, 10. And my idea, the thought is we behave primarily in three buckets. Our aligned behavior, or this is where we are, this is who we are 70% of the time, right? This is who we show up to be on a regular day when it's not stress involved. This is aligned. And then we have our struggle behavior. This is the 20%. This is when life gets a little hard. We're struggling to maintain those values in that bucket. And then the 10% is the contradictory behavior. This is when we literally do the complete opposite of what we say, what we preach, what we stand for. This is when extreme stress hits our life and we're overwhelmed emotionally. Grief, the big things in life, when they come and we just lose it. Usually we may not operate in this 10%. People may never see this 10%. But these are, in my opinion, when I study human behavior, these are some of the big buckets
Mm,
that we flow in as humans. And we're all capable of everything.
dang, that's
You
true.
know, I don't look at one person and say, oh, how could they? Given the right set of circumstances, given the right amount of pressure, given the right context and perspective,
Mhm,
so could be me, whatever that is. So yeah, I think we all got narcissistic tendencies,
mhm.
some stronger than others.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just a buzzword right now.
it is a buzzword, right? But so, what do you tell a person who feels like, "Hey, my husband or wife was a narcissist." How do you navigate that? Talking to them about the divorce, and they're talking about he or she was a narcissist.
Yeah. Yeah, I go back to this idea of boundaries and the things that you can control. There's so many things outside of our control, but the things you can control. So if somebody came to me and said, "Yeah, my ex was a narcissist and they did this and they did that," I would really go with, "So what do you want the rest of your life to look like? How do we design the rest of your life to be fulfilling for you?" Now we can sit here the rest of the time and look in the rearview mirror and talk about how bad they were to you and how they treated you so bad and oh it was horrible. Yeah, but what are we going to do with the front view? We got
Mm,
all this windshield. Do you want happiness now? Do you want peace? Do you want travel? What do you want to do with your life? And a lot of times it's easier for people to look back there and talk about what already happened
yeah,
than to create what could happen.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. That take more energy. They don't want to do that.
Nah.
They rather sit and stew, you know? So
Yeah.
that's where I try to challenge them.
I see that all the time with people around me that have been divorced. They talk
Yeah,
about their exes so much. And I always say, you might still care about those people because why are you still talking about them 5, 6 years later? It's still
yeah,
about what they did. And they
yeah,
now put every woman and every man in the same category as their spouses before. And I'm like, you're not going to be able to move on with life because now you're going to see something that's not
right.
there. You
Yeah, right. Yep. That's when your trauma is informing your present. And yeah, it's never good. It happens. We're human, but it's a tough space. Yeah.
So, how do you talk to people about dating after a divorce? And do you think it's good to get straight into dating right after you get a divorce?
No, no. Let it breathe. Let the ink dry. I jumped into a relationship right after my marriage and I got engaged because I had my commitment lens on. That's just the only way I viewed relationships. It was like, oh, gotta be married, gotta have go through the official channels.
Mhm.
And I wasn't healed and I wasn't ready. And I picked a partner when I was going through my trauma and the chaos of my divorce. And so you pick a person as you're spinning on this Ferris wheel, right? And you don't really look at the whole person. You just can kind of see some qualities that stand out as your life is spinning real fast. Say,
Right.
I like that about her. Yeah, I like that about him.
Mhm.
But then what happens is when life slows down and now you get to see all of them in focus,
Mhm.
most times we've made I don't want to say a bad decision, but yeah, maybe a bad decision, when we were in transition. Outside of that, the healing that probably needs to take place, that's a whole set of thing. And do you even know how to date? Do you know how to pick somebody after you've been, in a committed relationship for so long? So you really got to learn. You got to learn how to date. You got to unlearn things that you learned in your marriage.
Can I ask you, how did you get through that?
Yeah. Failure. That's how I can talk about it.
Really?
My goodness, yeah, like, I failed miserably. Like, I went into dating with married energy. I would treat women like they were wives, and they wasn't, and so go ahead, jump in.
No, look, I'm about to go off topic now. So,
Mhm.
it's a relationship. So we keep hearing social media when you're dating, you have to treat that man or that woman like they're your husband. You can't hold back anything. So now you're saying you were
Mm-mm.
doing that, but that you don't feel like that was right?
No, I don't agree with that. I think people have to earn that level of service, if you will. When you take a person who was recently divorced and they've been married for a long time, they're used to operating with certain values. These values, in the confines of a committed relationship, are safe. But when you take those same values and you put them out there in them streets, you will be taken advantage of. Your giving nature is safe in a marriage. It ain't safe out here in these streets because then everybody's coming to get from you. If you handed it out, they
Right.
gonna have their hands out.
So how do you teach a person not to be themselves, right? Like say, I'm a giving person, right?
Yep.
What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to hold back who you really are, and you as a man, you hold back and not. How do you do that?
Well, I'm gonna guide you, but the streets are gonna teach you. They're gonna teach you. I'm not gonna have to say much. Once you get out there, you're gonna be like, you know what? I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? So I can give you a heads up, like, you allow, certain things that you got to learn how to date. You got to reprogram expectations. That's a whole thing, not to have expectations when you're going out there dating, but that's a rewiring, right? And often what I say is you don't not be yourself. You just put that part of you on the shelf for now. Put
Mm,
that committed wife, husband energy on the shelf.
right.
And then you are the first phase of dating, I often say, is data gathering. So you're just gathering data from people and you're just asking, where'd you grow up? And tell me about this. And you're asking a lot of questions to help you fill in the blank spots. So
Oh,
that's how I usually encourage people to date.
so you suggest to date a lot, not sexually, but to go out
Yeah.
and get to know people.
Yeah, I look at it similar to when you're in a grocery store and you're in the cereal aisle and then you're just looking at all the different cereal boxes. You just look, oh, okay, that's Apple Jacks, that's Cheerios. Oh, okay, that's Reese's. You're not taking any cereal box off the shelf. You're not promising commitment. You're not even biting the cereal. You're not attaching to anything. So this is when you are just literally collecting data from the marketplace. And so when people say, I can't date a lot of people at once, No, you can't attach to a lot of people at once, or you shouldn't. That's the equivalent of holding all these cereal boxes out the door,
Right, right.
fumbling and bumbling and forgetting which ones is named and who you didn't talk to last. I'm just saying that's too much. Just look at the cereal boxes and see what you like. That's step one.
Isn't it hard for women though? I guess differentiate. Women is harder because they get attached easy.
Hmm. Yeah, but if you don't learn, they're gonna take you through there.
Feel it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just it is difficult, and you can be strategic about it. But like anything else, we learn anything else. You can learn how to detach. You can learn how to have a go-to set of questions that help guide the process for you in the beginning. Like this is stuff that you can learn. It's not unattainable.
Yeah.
It may be counterintuitive, right? It may be unnatural in the beginning, but you can definitely learn it. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of studies show that women usually file divorce more than men, right? Because that's a lot of things I hear. A lot of guys, well, the women are not the ones that didn't want to stay. The women are the ones that keep on messing up the family, and they're blaming it on us.
Mm,
Why do you think that happens in
yeah.
society?
Yeah. We've been at this gender war for so long,
Can we get off of it?
and I think it takes just broader conversations about it. I think it's easier to just fight one another than try to figure one another out. And, I think it takes a level of emotional intelligence, emotional maturity. I try really hard not to do the gender war thing on my platforms. I don't think it helps us, right? Now,
Yeah.
I will speak directly to men, I will speak directly to women, but in terms of pitting one
Right.
against each other, I just don't think it's productive. We got enough hurdles to jump over.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't need to be saying whose fault it was. Let's just try to figure out how to navigate. So I think
I love
that's
that.
what it is.
I
Yeah.
I love that, but then I guess because my reality, I'm seeing that around me, and it's a lot of
Hmm.
Black men talking about that. So sometimes it's like, how do I as a woman try to tell them, "See what's in front of you?" And I just had a conversation today. Look at what's in
Yeah.
front of you and stop looking at all Black women are this and all Black men are this. So I don't know
Yeah.
how to talk them down from that mentality. That's
Yeah, and then what also you're running up against is the effects of trauma. And so if those black men had a bad experience in those relationships, it literally rewires their brain. And so they think about that whole topic differently now. And so you're not just having an intellectual argument, you're having an experiential argument with them. And so that's hard.
and it's
It's
hard.
hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
True to them, and I'm like something they're blinded.
I often say when I was in 11th grade, I had a Mazda, and that car gave me so much trouble. To this day, when I look at Mazdas, I'm like, nope, I ain't getting no Mazda
I did the same.
because of 11th grade. But that's what we do, right? We have one bad experience relationship with a particular person or a particular situation or circumstance, and we like never again. Y'all are all the same.
I did the same.
11th grade.
I did the same thing with a Mazda. I would never get a Mazda, nothing.
See,
My Mazda 5,
see,
like I had to be pushing it. I was like, never again. Almost
what
broke.
kind was it? Do you remember?
I think mine was a Mazda 5, I think, at the time.
Five. Mine was a protege.
But
Nope.
I said, never again. That thing was going
Mhm.
slow. I swear I saw old lady walking past me. And I was like, really?
Right.
Yeah, it was bad. So I said, never again. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out how to get through a lot of people and to stop pitting, especially Black people. We pit the women against the men against the women, and I was like, don't you see what's happening? Social media
Yeah.
is bringing us down. I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
the men, the men
It's a tough
around,
conversation.
yeah, they can't. I don't know how to get through them, and they're all in their later 50s, and nothing is
Yeah,
stopping.
that generation, they may be too far gone in their experience. I mean, it's just, the old dog new
Yeah.
tricks type of thing. They've lived so long a certain way with certain beliefs. And I just don't know if they have the flexibility, the elasticity of mind to even change their thoughts at this point. So
Okay. So, how do you talk to a person though that does want to go back out there and dating, who's gone through divorce, right? Especially been married say over 25 years, and they're going through divorce and trying to get back into the dating pool. How do you help?
yeah, I help them with my framework. Three rules, if you will. So the first one is data gathering. We talked about looking at the cereal box. The second one is value alignment. This is when you turn that cereal box sideways and you look at what's inside, that nutritional value. Do we have the same type of values? Does our lives look like they would align? After I ingest you, experience you, what is that going to look like for me? Right. So this is when you really start asking those value questions, the lifestyle questions. And then once you identify some people that you are interested in,
Mhm.
then you actually have to take the cereal box home and you got to experience it. You just got to see if that chemistry really translates in real life. And so that's the framework I give people because it can be overwhelming, right? When you've been out the game so long.
Right.
So I try to make it simple and it can be tailored to your own personal situation. But
Okay.
yeah, gather the data,
Mhm.
values aligned, and just go out there and try and see.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So if people were to reach out to you, because you do counseling as well?
Yeah, I do coaching for couples, individuals, and yeah.
So if somebody wants to reach out to you for help, where do they find you?
My website, mikespeaks2.com. MikeSpeaks, the number 2.com. All my information is there. You can book a session, group packages, all the good stuff is there. My book is out there.
Oh, you have a
So
book?
yeah, I have a book. Yep. Emotionally Intelligent Dating. It's on Amazon.
Man,
Yeah.
you need to be teaching that a lot more because people
Yeah.
don't understand that. And some guys like emotional intelligence, that's some bull stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not. But a lot of people need to understand what emotional intelligence is.
I love the opportunity to share and be a part of conversations like this.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So many.
You need to put out to people for them to understand about divorce, leaf, grief, dating again.
I just think that people sometimes underestimate their humanity, and sometimes it takes longer to get over a marriage. It takes longer to get over a divorce, a breakup. So be patient with yourself, right? I think that's key. And learn to love yourself. That's the biggest thing for me. If I can't say nothing else, pour into yourself. Be kind to yourself. So many times we run from one relationship to the next and we're looking for the next person to make us feel happy as
Right.
if we don't have that capacity of our own. And so that's the main thing I try to push because that's the only controllable.
That's true. Where'd you learn this? Had you always been like this, or just like you said, going through things and growing?
Failing Failing,
Okay.
like coming out of a divorce and just literally being lost and then starting therapy for a decade and working on myself, reading books that, I have books everywhere. So I love reading. I love learning. That's just kind of my thing.
One more thing before you leave, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Talk a black man into going to counseling,
If I knew that, we would be rich.
or a person, like you say, you don't want to do sexist thing or gender thing.
I don't know. I don't want to put us against each other, but there are isolated incidences for each. But I think it's just not a part of our culture. And
Yeah.
I think we have to start making it a part of our culture. It's not, therapy isn't just a white thing, right? For so long, I think we've only looked at it like that. But when people broaden the conversation, it's like me, yo, I've been in therapy for 10 plus years. And so hopefully with me sharing that, another black man could say, oh, wow, if he doing therapy, okay, he look like me, he come from the same place as me. Maybe I should consider it. So I think it's just exposure. It's taking the stigma off of it, but it is it's like trying to help another person acclimate to a culture they're not familiar with. It's going to take time.
Right.
It's just constant reinforcement of that idea, but it'll happen. I think we can do it.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank
Yeah.
you.